D11 Sports presents St. Luke's Sports Medicine Game of the Week.
Lehighton Area High School is site tonight for Schuylkill League football action. It's our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. The Pottsville Crimson Tide with a record of 1-1 take on the Lehighton Indians, also checking in with a record of 1-1. Hi and welcome everyone. Al DeCaro alongside Matt Avancho. Glad you could join us. It's great to be back here in Lehighton. We were here for a Thursday game a year ago, and we expect a good matchup between these two teams, both at 1-1.
Yeah, when we look at both teams, they both come in off of different schedules and different two-game stretches. Both 1-1, though, but you could tell by the coaches they felt that Lehighton comes in a little bit more contested with that game against Tamaqua last week. So Coach McGoey from Pottsville is looking to see what his team's made of in this game tonight. Well,
let's talk about the Crimson Tide and Coach McGoey. Again, 1-1 for him. They're coming off a win against Minersville, 52-18, after losing to Nativity BVM. A couple go-to players. They lost a bunch from last year's championship team, but Bobby Walchuk, the senior running back.
Yeah, Bobby Walchuk brings a lot of things to this offense, and he can run the ball. He's at 205 pounds. He can outrun some people to the end zone, but one thing that stood out to me was the way Coach McGoey mentioned how effective he is on defense, playing multiple spread offenses in the first 2 weeks, and he already has 5 tackles for losses, so he's going to be a key cog for that defense tonight.
Well, when you look at Lehighton and you look at their head coach in his 9th year, Tom McCarroll, they're coming off a loss, and a tough loss to Tamaqua by the score of 20-14. Richard Freinheiser had 5 touchdowns in one game, and he has to play well tonight for them to win.
And Coach McCarroll talked about how Freinheiser has been a leader for this team. He comes out, he just does the things. He's not going to make mistakes. He's going to do what his team needs him to do to be successful, that whether it's running the ball, throwing the ball. But he did say he's going to stay in the pocket a little bit more than the quarterbacks from Lehighton have in the past, and he's going to make those decisions with his arms.
Well, we're in the Schuylkill League tonight. We're excited to bring you Pottsville and Lehighton for sure. When we come back, we'll have our starting lineups. We'll also talk to Casey Wallace when we return. You're watching our D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Do you want to have your child see the pediatrician, but you wonder if now is a safe time? Well visits and vaccines are more important now than ever. St. Luke's Pediatrics offers options to streamline your visit, like over-the-phone screenings before you come in, virtual visits you could do from home, and some practices even offer curbside consultations. St. Luke's wants to keep you and your child safe and healthy, so call us today. St. Luke's, my health, my hospital, our community.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts. Concussion.
We are back here at Lehighton, and glad you could join us. And our third member of our broadcast crew is Casey Wallace, and Casey Wallace is down the field. He talked to both coaches. Casey?
Thanks, guys. I talked to Coach Tom McCarroll for Lehighton. Offensively, he told me they need to finish drives on offense. Last week against Tamaqua, they just couldn't get some drives done, and now they're playing a similar team in Pottsville. And defensively, he told me that they need to contain Pottsville's running back, Bobby Walchuk, who currently has 5 touchdowns on the season. I also spoke to Pottsville coach Tom McGoey. He told me offensively they're going to look for Bobby Walchuk to pound the rock tonight, and defensively they need their cornerbacks to step up against Lehighton's receivers, Zach Hunsicker and Hunter Crum. Back to you guys.
All right, KC, great job with his first report. KC, of course, with Jade Schleicher last year, were here with us at Lehighton. We got a couple of new members as well. We added 2 more, and we're excited about that as well. And Matt, obviously it's an opportunity to get our student reporters involved, and we talked about these each and every time. It's great to be out here. How about a 6 o'clock start? We're not used to the 6 o'clock start. I like the daylight a little bit, even though it's raining.
Exactly. I think this gets us home a little bit earlier. You and I both talked earlier. Last night, we left the stadium. It was after 10 o'clock. I mean, here we thought the game was going to go quick, and it ended up being a long, drawn-out game.
Well, there was a couple penalties last night in the Notre Dame Salisbury game. You know, the gun there, you know, the cannon always gets me. You know, it got me at Lehigh when Tom McGoey was there as the head coach, and it gets me there today at the same time. So it's, you know, that opportunity as both teams make their way onto the field. And, you know, for us to be here again here in Lehighton and to be able to see two teams in the Schuylkill League, and for everyone not only, you know, you talk about the visiting fans not being able to be here as much, you know, to give those fans an opportunity that can't be at the game, whether home or away. Hope everyone's enjoying our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine.
You're right, Al, and I think we're going to see both teams tonight. They're going to be, all the fans are going to be treated to a well-played, hard-fought game with these two teams.
Again, both teams at 1-1 on the season. And with that, we'll bring in our keys to the game. And obviously, you look at both teams and we talk about, obviously, the beginning part of it. And you look at Pottsville, and we'll begin with them first.
And we talked to Coach McGoey about the trenches. Neither coach mentioned it when we spoke to them in the beginning of the game. And he's concerned about this because he felt they faced two teams that were more finesse than they were smash mouth. And so he knows Lehighton has been tested with the game against Tamaqua. But then they also need to remain disciplined and avoid any kind of dumb penalties. And we saw plenty of penalties last night, so hoping that gets true here tonight.
Well, with that, you know, we're looking at the Lehighton keys to the game as well.
And give credit to KC. He already went over the first key. Lehighton needs to stop the run. They need to stop Bobby Wolchek. He's a returning running back. He's a very good athlete. But they also need to make sure they minimize any self-inflicted mistakes. That's going to be something every coach mentions. They need to get out and they just need to play and be safe and make the plays that they know they can make and not try to step outside their comfort zone.
And one thing differently, as we look down in the field, you know, as we get ready for the national anthem in a minute or so, different from years past, obviously because of COVID-19, the players are spread from the 10 to the 10. Matt, talk about that a little bit. Coaching box a little bit different, and you know, how the players are spread out.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about that with being a coach there. You can go down to the 10-yard line. You can just do so much more coaching from the sideline.
Is it getting you back in? Are you
no,
in?
It's not getting me back
okay,
in.
just checking.
I still, as we talked last night, I'm still enjoying coaching golf, you know, with my team. It's much more relaxing and much less stress.
Oh, when I play golf, all I do is yell 4. You, meanwhile, are going for a Colonial League championship on Monday in Bethlehem. Glad you could join us here for our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, alongside Casey Wallace, also in the house. Ari Bluestein and his team here as well from Sports Fan Base Network. Again, their second year with us here at D11 Sports, and we're happy to have them on board once again to give you all the good look at this game. You know, last night it was interesting because we were at Notre Dame doing the Colonial League game, and that game, we got to go back to that because that game was 0-0 with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left, and all of a sudden there was 80 points scored in the game.
Exactly, and it's just a matter of the team who we thought was going to have the quick strike, big play capability was the one who actually ended up scoring with controlled drives. And then Salisbury was the one who they stuck in it with some big plays by their athletes, Quentin Stevens and Chad Parton. Two names we're going to hear from for Salisbury as we move forward in the season.
Well, as we get ready to go here, again, the Crimson Tide, if you're wondering, 1-1. They're coming off a win against Minersville 52-18. They lost their first game in the TBD BVM 31-21 for the Lehighton Indians. They lost to Tamaqua a week ago 20-14, and they beat Panther Valley on opening day by the score of 40-12. And with that, we pause in Honor America with the playing of our national anthem here at Lehighton. So we get ready and minutes away from the opening kickoff between these two teams. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Pottsville that won the toss and deferred. Am I correct, Matt?
I believe that is correct. I do know Pottsville won the toss. Not quite remember if they deferred or not.
Now, Tom McGoey's a defensive guy, so I would assume that is the case. But, again, me assuming is usually wrong, so I won't assume anymore, and we'll just see what happens here as we get ready for this matchup. Again, a 6:10 start here in Lehighton. We will be back here in Lehighton in about 4 weeks or so for Blue Mountain and Lehighton in that matchup between these two teams. You know, first things first, as we get ready for the opening kickoff of this game, it's an exciting time for us as well. So they will kick off, and we'll get the starting lineup after the opening kickoff. Matt, one thing we need to talk about this game, I wasn't expecting any rain all day, and it's been raining back and forth. I don't know what the weather guy thought about this one, but I didn't see it coming at all.
I didn't either. I mean, one of the teams I coach was having a fundraiser today, a car wash. Kind of hard to do when it's raining out.
And we are underway. That's Rafe DeCello. And it is fielded right around the 20-yard line. It's picked up there by J.J. McDowell. And we are underway, and they'll start things off from the 30-yard line. And with that, we'll bring in the starting lineup for the Lehighton Indians.
As we talked about, it's going to go through the hands of Richard Fraunheiser at quarterback. But he's playing behind a very good offensive line with some good size that has been battle-tested so far this season. In Brendan Zimmerman, Gage Hartney, Michael Yakel, Ricky Hauser, and Wyatt Scherer. So he's going to rely on that, but then you also take a look at Hunter Crum and Zach Hunsaker and what they can do at the wide receiver position.
We'll take a look at the defense after this play. First down and 10. They'll start things off right on the 35-yard line. Glad you could join us. Our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. And with that, our first penalty. And that'll give us an opportunity to take a look at the starting defense for the Pottsville Crimson Tide.
Okay, so when you look at the defense, as Coach McGoey had mentioned, it's the running game that they need to stop. So they're going to need to be very active with that front four as well as the two linebackers. And the strong safety, Bobby Walchak, is going to have a big game for them in that running game as well.
So 1st and 15. And on the ground they go, and a burst of speed all the way through. And a good job there by J.J. McDowell.
Yeah, and he's following his offensive line. J.J. McDowell, only 111 yards rushing so far this season, but 2 touchdowns. So he is a definite threat to go to distance at any point in time on the field.
Just underway here from Lehighton Area High School. And a 2nd down and 8, and they'll try to keep it on the ground. First guy in defensively was Pat Yoder. And goes up to about the 40-yard line.
And that's going to be that linebacking crew, Pat Yoder, J.R. Reed, number 23, and then the 2 strong safeties, Bobby Walchak, Bryce Bowers. Those 4 need to be able to get into space and find the running backs and bring them down.
Looking to throw, and comes near side, and that's going to be about a yard short of the first down marker as he connects downfield by Brandon Coker.
Brandon listed as a tight end, but split out in a slot, just runs a quick hitch route.
So 4th down and 1. Are they going here, or are they just going to see if they can draw them offside? I'd be stunned if they go on this one, Matt. No. See, I'm stunned. And they'll get the first down and move the chains. That shows the confidence here, 3 games in, saying we're going with J.J. McDowell. We're going to try to punch it and see what we can do.
Exactly. And it's, again, following that offensive line, opening up the holes for them. What they're doing, what Lehighton's line's doing is they're getting off their blocks on the line of scrimmage and getting up to that second level, the linebacker level, and they're freeing up J.J. McDowell to not be touched until he gets reached by the third level, the safeties.
So the ball from the 48, opening drive of the game. Freinheiser will try to punch forward, and nothing there. A lot of white jerseys, and they're still trying to pull that out as well. And again, so far in a couple plays in, the defense, Pat Yoder, has been there on a couple times.
And it looked like there was a broken play in the backfield. It looked like Fraunheiser was trying to hand it off to McDowell, who was going to lead block for him.
Toss far side. DeCello. And nothing there at all as they collapsed on the defense. Quickly in. No, that was Crum, excuse me.
Yeah, quick screen out to Crum, getting the offensive guard, offensive tackle on that side, coming out to open up lead blocks. But credit to the Pottsville defense playing that solid, getting off the blocks and getting it for a short gain.
So 3rd down and 8. The ball sits right at midfield. Fraunheiser out of the shotgun, and he gets popped as he throws, and they'll call it incomplete. But, boy, they came in quickly and didn't have a chance.
And it looked to be Joey Palco, who was coming through from his defensive end spot, taking an inside move on the offensive tackle, and looked like a busted protection up front. But Fraunheiser lucky to get that away before taking the big hit.
So Lehighton, while they moved the ball effectively there and converted on 1 4th down, will now have to punt. This is Zach Hunsiger. Hunsiger will let one go and call for a fair catch. They'll get a roll, and this will bounce out of bounds right around the 22, 23-yard line, as we'll see the first possession for the Pottsville Crimson Tide. And with that, we will bring in the starting lineup for Pottsville. Again, they're 1-1 season so far. After losing their first game, they came back and won their second game.
And when you look at obviously it goes with Bobby Wolchak, but Coach McGoey talked about Jay Snowell and what he's been able to do at the quarterback position. Very efficient last week in their win against Minersville. I believe he went 11 of 13 in that win.
We'll take a look at the defense after this play. And the toss. And it's going to be Wolchak on his first carry of the game. Gets to the outside. Has some space down the sideline. And knocked out of bounds. And that was Trevante Davis on the carry.
And as you said, Trevante Davis taking the quick pitch around the right edge, so they're using a second running back in there with Bobby Wolchak. In reality, though, coming into this game, Trevante Davis is the leading rusher for the team with 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of them, an 84 touchdown yard run. You saw that speed on that first play.
Yeah, and Trevante Davis gets the second carry inside the 35 down to the 34-yard line.
And we talked about Pottsville, and they had that great run last year, a great season with the District 11 championship, making a run late in the playoffs, but they lost quite a few players from that. So having the ability to put Wolchak in different positions and using Trevante Davis and getting some more guys in the mix is going to be something they can build on moving forward.
2nd down and 9. Looking to throw. Nothing there. Now off the back foot. Throws. Has a receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. Connects downfield to Rafe DeCello for 34 yards. Take a look.
You have to credit Jay Snowell. He feels the pressure, stays in the pocket, moves a little bit, keeps his eyes downfield, something we talked about in week 1. Quarterbacks being able to keep their eyes downfield and not run at the first sign of pressure. And as you said, he finds Rafe DeCello into the end zone. He's the leading receiver. That's his first touchdown of the year.
So Pottsville scores on their opening drive of the game on the big touchdown. And DeCello, after scoring the touchdown, is there for the extra point. And it comes with 7:57 on the clock as Pottsville leads 7-0.
It's a quick drive for Pottsville. The big run by Trevante Davis on first down, then a second run by Trevante Davis, and then Jay Snowell keeping his eyes down the field to find DeCello streaking to the post and just getting the ball over the outstretched hands of the Lehighton defender.
You know, Matt, interesting as, you know, you take a look and you have the opportunity to watch this one more time. Had some time, they went off the back foot and still throws this downfield perfectly as he just stretched and made the catch.
Correct. And as you saw, the defender coming in for Lehighton, J.J. McDowell back there at the safety spot, just outside his reach for that, but nearly knocked away.
So Pottsville scoring early, 7-0 is your score. And this will be fielded right around the 14-yard line and picked up there by Zach Hunsiger. And Hunsiger will get popped right around they'll mark it maybe around the 29-yard line or so. Earlier today, a big matchup in the Colonial League, early season showdown between Wilson and Penn Argyl. Penn Argyl was leading 26-0, if I'm not mistaken, in the game. I believe that's what it was. And then it was 26-26 at the half. Wilson comes all the way back, and they win 33-26. So a huge victory for Chris Labach.
Correct, and they needed that victory, I believe. Actually had a chance, I don't know if I should say this, was able to catch some of the game on the Penn Argyl live stream as I was driving here.
Yeah, I was watching the same thing.
Probably shouldn't be doing that while I'm driving,
well,
but able to catch that, and I saw Wilson twice thwarted Penn Argyl drives deep into their territory in the third quarter.
Good job there by Penn Argyl getting that live stream going with their TV department. And Spring Shank, Tim Egan, the athletic director there as well, giving another opportunity for fans to check out the game. So 2nd down and 7 from the 33. Lehighton down by the score of 7-0. You're watching our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine, and this one's incomplete. Getting the ball down low, looking for Ian Rarick.
You can see what Lehighton's trying to do is just get the ball out into space on short intermediate routes to the receivers against this zone coverage of Pottsville.
Third down and 7 from the 33. Richard Freinheiser rolls to the near side, has a receiver, and he connects to Zach Hunsiger, and Hunsiger turns upfield for the first down inside Pottsville territory.
And Zach Hunsiger does a nice job driving the defender off the ball. You can see him at the bottom of the screen on the outside, and Freinheiser putting the ball out where his receiver can catch it in front of him, and then he does a nice job yards after the catch, getting some extra yardage for the Lehighton offense.
.650 on the clock, opening quarter of play. And on the ground and nowhere to go for J.J. McDowell. Maybe picked up 1.5 yards only. Actually, they gave him a good spot.
Yeah, McDowell, again, running behind that offensive line. He's going to get the majority of the carries for the Lehighton offense tonight.
So 2nd down and 8. The ball sitting at the 47-yard line. Freinheiser with 3 receivers. Far side, that one knocked away. Good job of getting the hands in immediately was Joey Palco.
And Joey Palco, he comes in at the defensive end spot for Pottsville at 6'2", 200 pounds. Only a sophomore, though. Big-time looking sophomore down there.
I want to thank Kyle Spots, the athletic director here, for getting us in a good spot once again to do our live stream and send it out to everyone out there. From the 47, Freinheiser gets hit as he throws, and that one incomplete. A little bumping going down the whole way, but nothing called there. It's 6:04 on the clock.
Yeah, Freinheiser has some decent protection, able to look for his receiver right away, gets it up and out. Just good coverage by the Pottsville defensive backfield, making sure they keep the receivers in front of them.
So 4th down at 8, they'll go for it. Looking to throw, that's in traffic, and that one is incomplete. So now what you do, Matt, you have a short field if you're Pottsville. Looking across, and it looked like Tom McCarroll, the head coach, looked down and said he thought he had someone open here on the near side and may have missed that one.
And that's something when you look at a first-year starting quarterback, even though it's week 3, he's still learning the game. He's still learning what the offense needs to do and where he needs to put the ball.
So Jay Snowell from the gun once again. And they'll go on the ground, and nothing there. First carry by Bobby Walchuk. Take a look at the defense for Lehighton, and obviously you're going to see those cornerbacks. They may get tested today.
The cornerbacks and the safeties, I think, are all going to get tested in that secondary with Jay Snowell and this receiving core of Pottsville, even though everybody's focusing on Bobby Walczak and that running game.
2nd down and 11 from the 48-yard line. Snowell rolls and a quick toss. That one off the shoelaces, but DeCello couldn't get that one. So far, we've seen like 3 or 4 passes down, low, and all incomplete for both teams.
And we talked to Coach McCarroll, and asked him about the weather and the conditions, and he said the field drains well, even though it's been like raining off and on all day. That ball has to be slippery. It has to still be wet down there on the wet turf. So that can play into a factor with who's going to throw the ball more.
So 3rd down and 11 from the 48. 5:21 on the clock. And the snap and trying to power forward is Isaiah Zajda. Oh, excuse me. No, Snowell.
So Snowell took the direct snap. They just went right at him, right at the defense on the strong side. They had both backs blocking for him, just being able to pick up a small gain.
I knew I would mix up my roster one time. Apologize for that. So 4th down and 5, so no harm done to Lehighton after they went on 4th down and didn't convert. We mentioned the short field. And we're down to about the 440 mark. That one straight up. So how about this? Depending on which way it rolls. All right, so it'll roll to about the 38. They'll probably mark it. But, Matt, if you're Lehighton and you're Coach McCarroll, you're looking and say, we had the ball right around the 47-yard line. We went for it. We didn't get it. And we're going to have the ball, at the, 5 yards back. So not bad.
No, not bad. And the defense stepped up for them, stopping that running game and then keeping everybody in front of him. He was also concerned with the secondary and what they were going to do for Lehighton tonight.
So Lehighton will start from the 39-yard line. And I do have to say this. Now, waiting on the governor to make different decisions and everything that's going on, you're adding some more fans in the stands, and I think we're, probably right around, 400 or 500 here tonight. Just to feel, and again, on the first down toss play to Hunter Crum, but first a replay, and then I'll get my thought.
And if you just missed out on the replay of what Richard Fraunheiser was able to do with the RPO, pulling the ball out of McDowell's hands and getting it out to his receiver, Hunter Crum, running the slant route.
1st and 10 from the 49. They go to McDowell. McDowell gains about a yard or so. Matt, what I was saying is this has the feel to a football game. You need the cheerleaders who are wearing their masks, by the way. You need the band members who are wearing their masks, by the way. And you need some crowd, in the game. And this has the feel of a football game.
In talking to KC before the game, he mentioned, so each player was given 2 tickets for their family members. Each cheerleader was given 2 tickets. Each band member was given 2 tickets. So when you put the band, the cheerleaders, and the football team together, you're coming out about 400 people in the stands, but they're all spaced out as well.
Mm-hmm. So only touchdown of the game was a 34-yard touchdown pass to Rafe DeCello. Fraunheiser will toss it to the near side, and will get J.J. McDowell, but again, the defense not going anywhere, and has Bobby Walczak on the stop.
It looked to be going to give them a nice gain. It was a relief valve with J.J. McDowell on the outside, but credit Bobby Walczak staying home at his outside linebacker safety position and coming up to make the tackle.
No, now I'm not going to say it because, they went for it already in this exact spot. So I think they'll continue to do it in that way. So 4th down and 9, trying to convert from the 48-yard line. Again, the middle part of the field was open last time. That's where they'll go this time, and that's going to be incomplete. Actually, they're coming to the near side. And maybe a miscommunication as he was looking for Hunter Crum.
And Coach McCarroll not happy with the decision-making by his quarterback, Richard Fraunheiser.
Glad you could join us here at Lehighton Area High School. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. We want to thank John Hoth Ken Sidlow and everyone at St. Luke's for their support with D11sports.com as we continue to bring not only live stream games to you, but also develop skills for student reporters. We have 4 here at Lehighton and over 50 total over the last year and a half. Walchuk powers forward across midfield and gets around to the 49-yard line.
And coming up for the tackles, Braden Lutz, the linebacker, he came through, kind of throttled down, and gave Walchuk just a little bit of room to pick up those 4 yards when he could have made the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
.229 remaining opening quarter of play. And they'll try to attack the ground once again. And that was Coker. Amari Dunn, excuse me.
That time Pottsville gave it to Amari Dunn, the fullback, who doesn't have a whole lot of carries. But when he does, he's being effective. That time picking up the first down on this drive.
2 minutes on the clock. First down and 10 from the 42. Motion to the near side. Snowell trips up and has a receiver here, but Snowell wants to take this one the whole time, and he's going to finally toss and has DeCello for the touchdown. He'll scoot in for 42 yards. Played that one perfectly.
It looked like, you can tell right from the get-go, it looks like Trevante Davis went the wrong way. Snowell hung out there, trying to make something out of nothing, and able to make sure he gets the ball out. Rafe DeCello does move down the field on the scramble drill. It was supposed to be a running play, so they're fortunate they had no linemen down the field on that pass play.
Mm-hmm. So 42 yards, Snowell to DeCello. That's his second touchdown of the game. So 34 and 42 to add to their lead. We'll wait for the extra point attempt by DeCello.
Penalty flag. Prior to snap. False start. Offense. Number 52. 5-yard penalty.
So everything going in the favor of Pottsville at this point. And then you get that penalty here. I'll move it back a little bit. And we'll test DeCello. Now still some more confusion. I want to make sure the spot is correct. So 2 touchdown passes by Snowell, both to DeCello. One from 34 came at the 7:57 mark, and the second one here at the 1:38 mark from 42 yards. There's a high snap. They'll place this one, and that one is up, and that is through the uprights. 14-0 Pottsville.
And the first one, again, just a busted coverage down the middle of the field to DeCello, and then this second one was just a matter of a broken play by the Pottsville offense and them being able to execute into a touchdown.
So now we talked about before, Matt, where Lehighton did not. Lehighton went for it again, and then this happened. But you know, watch Snowell. I mean, you said, yeah, he's going to run. He tripped up there, but you know, right here on the near side, he's just waiting, saying, wait, I'm wide open here.
And again, talk about his poise and his confidence in the pocket. He was able to keep his eyes downfield and look for a receiver before making that decision to run the ball.
So 1:38 on the clock, and Lehighton is trying to dig out of a 14-0 deficit against the defending champs in Pottsville. DeCello will let this one fly. It'll be returnable starting at the 20-yard line, picked up there by Hunsiger, and Hunsiger will power forward across the 35 up towards the 37-yard line.
Hunsiger on the kick return. Tackle made by number 27.
Glad you can join us here on D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. 2 in the books already on our live stream. Central Catholic and Whitehall, and then last night, Salisbury and Notre Dame. Next week, we'll have a double dip once again. On Friday night, we'll have Northampton and Freedom, and then on Saturday, a big one, Easton and Liberty. You know, we say big ones. You know, you're opening up the East Penn Conference next week, so it's exciting. These teams will be in their fourth game in the Schuylkill League, and it'll be the first game for many teams in the East Penn Conference, while some other teams have played already once or twice. Snap taken, and solid pickup on first down for Lehighton, and again, J.J. McDowell.
And that time McDowell lined up at the quarterback position, takes the direct snap as they move Fraunheiser out to a slot receiver, kind of spread out that Pottsville defense, try to open up a little bit more running room for McDowell.
So they'll give him 6, and they'll try to gain the 4 here, and they will, as Hunter Crum gets across midfield. Boy, I tell you what, Lehighton's been sitting at this 47-yard line like for the whole game.
This time Hunter Crum comes in motion, takes the handoff from J.J. McDowell, and then you get the whole pile and crowd, or the whole team down there pushing for him to get that first down.
So they had the ball at the 47 earlier. They went for it, did not get it. Then they had the ball at the 48-yard line. And now they'll try to see if they can move upfield on the snap again to McDowell.
Now, one thing you always look for in these Wildcat offense, the Wildcat sets, will they allow McDowell to throw the ball? Because if they do not, then you can just key on the run, put man coverage out on the receivers, load the box, and just stop the running game.
Well, wondering about number 16 to the near side. He leads the team in catches already with 16 through 2 games, which is a lot. You know, obviously they're going to be wanting to go in his direction after another carry here by McDowell. So 1 quarter complete, 2 touchdowns scored, 14-0. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Back after this.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
St. Luke's is ready for you. We're working tirelessly to make sure our hospitals and facilities are as safe as ever. We're all masking for you, and we provide masks to our patients and guests. We're ready for you, screening all patients for symptoms before appointments and offering virtual registration and check-in. We're limiting the number of people in our waiting areas and repeatedly disinfecting waiting and exam rooms. St. Luke's is ready for you so you can stay healthy, now more than ever.
We are back here. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, Casey Wallace down on the sideline. Student reporter from Lehighton, one of 4 that we have here for Lehighton. And if you're a student out there and you're watching and you're in a District 11 school, you know, visit your athletic director, contact them, and you know, try to get on board here for D11sports.com, and we'll get you on board as a student reporter. You'll be able to watch some sports and do some live streaming, report on your team. And that's a high snap, and that goes flying right off of J.J. McDowell. McDowell tries to make something back, and will push forward towards the 40-yard line. There's the flag at the end of that play.
Looks like the flag, they're going to try to get J.J. McDowell for intentional grounding. You'll see in the replay, there is a receiver in the vicinity, but I don't know if they're just going to pull it where he wasn't even trying to get to him. You can see the receiver coming back to the ball.
Yeah, the receiver, I believe, was Fraunheiser, the quarterback coming across.
I think we're going to see Lehighton punt this ball away.
Mm-hmm. Matt, your thoughts on that last play? You know, you're going to take a big loss, and then, again, you're trying to think real quick off your feet and probably not put in that situation either.
And it's a hard thing to do because you have it's most likely a running play called. So if he has linemen downfield, can't really throw the ball downfield.
Hunziker will get a great roll inside the 25, and this one's going to roll all the way down to about the 21-yard line. They'll mark it at the 22.
21-yard line. Will be 1st and 10, Pottsville.
We're talking about our D11sports.com student reporter internship program. Started with 40 a year ago. We graduated 20 students. We had an alum come back last night, and Ben Carlin did a great job. And it's funny, he texted me this morning, Matt, and he wrote Mayor, Prom King, because we were talking about him the whole time. And he did a great job coming back, and I know he enjoyed every second of it. From the 21, someone jumped, and there will be a flag here. But, you know, we graduated 20. We've added 13. We've added 2 more here in Lehighton. We've added one in Easton, one in Southern Lehigh, another one in Pleasant Valley, 3 more in Nazareth. Looking at, you know, some other schools, and, you know, Penn Argyl will get some more in as well. And I tell you what, these students are just falling in love with the program and learning. KC from last year to this year, really, I'm not going to say night and day, but he's so much more confident and he's enjoying it. And you saw that in his first report.
Absolutely, and that's the nicest thing to see about what you guys are doing with this program.
From the 27. Not sure if someone called a timeout here or not. There was no signal for a timeout. But my guess, Matt, there must have been.
Looked like it was, if
Oh, here we
anything,
go.
it looked like it was going to be Pottsville. Officials timeout.
Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but there was something from the sideline. Looking at the scoreboard.
I wasn't paying attention to the play clock. I don't know if that's something that's been on and now isn't on.
Okay. See it. So back to action here. And there's a snap, and Snowwell trying to grab that one, and then he'll get taken down for a huge loss.
And again, it just looks like he takes his eyes off the ball when it comes back. A little bit to the left, trying to pick it up. And credit Lehighton defense for getting to the ball and bringing him down, giving themselves a chance to try to flip that field position and maybe start working on a short field.
It'll be 2nd down and 15.
So ball all the way back to the 17-yard line. Snowwell. And we'll toss this one across and get it to Javante Davis. Davis had the first couple carries of the game for Pottsville. They lead 14-0 on touchdown passes by Snowwell to Rafe DeCello twice, 34 and 42.
And here again, you had a good look at Braden Lutz from his linebacker spot, flying through the gap that he's seeing to get his hands on Trevante Davis to bring him down.
3rd down and 10.
Quarter number 2 from Lehighton. They'll go trips near side. Now motion to near side is Davis. And again, juggled and then going to take it. Snowwell tries to jump over a defender and will get taken down right around the 30-yard line. So that's twice Snowwell lost a handle, Matt. Ball slippery, just not looking.
Looks like the ball might be just slipping through his fingers. That one a little high, but definitely manageable to catch. Very, very close to picking up the first down. Credibly heightened defender number 4 coming in for the tackle, Ethan Buckert.
.940 on the clock, 4th down and 2. The ball at the 30, and they'll indeed punt this ball away. And the positive roll down towards the 30-yard line. Dave Micah in the house as well, and he's putting in some steps tonight. He's, roaming the sidelines and getting some stuff out to everyone out there, and some pictures as well. And, last night we were at Notre Dame and we did not have a band. Tonight we do, and gives you a little bit more of the, I was going to say the Friday night feel, the football feel when you're at a game.
It definitely does. You have that feel of a football game in Lehigh Valley and what it's like.
So Lehighton with 9:27 will regroup and take things over at the 30-yard line. Play clock is back on. Freinheiser looking to throw and had a receiver, but I'm not sure if he fell or got tripped up. That was Ian Rarick downfield.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough call. Ian Rarick was behind the secondary. However, gets his feet tripped up with the defensive back and ends up going down.
And coming into the game, Freinheiser had those 5 touchdowns, or 6 touchdowns, had 5 in the one game, 30 of 51 for 518 yards, rolls to the near side, and he is taken down. Really didn't have much of a chance there. The white jersey came flying through, and Jace Adamick makes the stop.
Yeah, you see the overload on the right side of the offensive left. You had number 7, Jace Adamick, number 3, Bobby Walczak. They pick up Walczak, but Adamick they just let come in, just a mix-up in protection between the offensive tackle and the running back.
So just like that, it's 3rd down and 20 for Freinheiser. Comes in near side, and I'm not sure if that ball got tipped or not. And a 3 and out here for Lehighton.
Well, it seemed like the ball came out way earlier than what the receiver expected.
Brings up 4th down and 20.
So 4th down and 20. And that ball is just somehow makes its way across midfield to about the 45-yard line. So Pottsville with the 14-0 lead will take over here on downs as they'll get the ball after the punt and bring their offense back onto the field. We talked to Coach McGoey prior to the contest. We talked about, and I talked to him during the week as well, about having that first loss in Nativity. Nativity has a pretty good team. They bring a lot of players back as well, and he said nothing to take away from them because they played really well, but at the same time, we did everything wrong. They had a lot of mistakes in the game, but at the same time, Nativity beat them and got the win. On the ground, Walczak.
Number 3, Bobby Walczak.
So Walczak has, 2 carries maybe tonight so far, so he's been relatively quiet to this point. But as Coach said, he can put on the speed for, the big guy that he is at 205.
And when you're walking around the field and next to him, he's all of 6'1" as well.
2nd down and 7 from the 48. And taken by himself. Snowball has some space. We'll get the first down and spins across and gets down to about the 35-yard line.
You get a good look at them running just a dive option out of that pistol set. And Snowball pulls the ball as they collapse on the running back and then pulls it to the outside, has a couple lead blockers for the big gain.
From the 35-yard line.
So Pottsville now down to the 35, and they'll pitch this one back and nowhere to go, as on the carry once again was Trevante Davis.
And again, coming through, you have to credit Braden Lutz from the inside linebacker position. They're not getting a hand on him, and he's reading the plays very well, finding that hole and coming through and making the tackles for short gains.
Well, they'll give him 1. So 2nd down and 9, the ball at the 34. We are right at the 7-minute mark, 14-0 Tide leading. Snowell will float this one out, and that is incomplete. Was looking in the direction of Justin McClure.
Number 13, Justin McClure.
Yeah, and you'll get a good look at Jay Snowell taking the snap, getting it out to McClure on a bubble screen, has Walczak blocking in front of him with a lot of green space to go. You also have Amari Dunn coming out to help block and just not able to bring it down. A little high, but still catchable.
So inside 7, 3rd down and 9. Well, defensively, this is a huge opportunity for Lehighton. You want to get the ball back. I know there's plenty of time here, but you don't want this drive to keep going. For Pottsville, you want to continue. 3rd down and 9, Snowwell now gets flushed out of the pocket, and there a completion downfield. But there is a flag, and this one should come back.
Yeah, we have multiple flags on the field for a holding penalty. But again, credit Jace Snow feeling the pressure, but keeping his eyes downfield, finding those open receivers. Very close to coming up with a touchdown to McClure.
So with that, the ball will move back. .45 o'clock. Glad you could join us here on D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, Dave Micah in the house, as well Casey Wallace, our student reporter from Lehighton. We want to thank Ari Blunstein, Bill Lewis, Sports Fan Base Network, producing our game once again tonight. The first down marker, if you're wondering, is right around the 25-yard line. 3rd down and 23. Snowwell throws it and has a receiver and didn't see it. I don't think McClure saw that ball coming in his direction because it was right there where he was at.
It was, and I think if he would have seen it come through, he had a lot of traffic in front of him, however. But if he would have saw it, he was behind the defenders, and if he caught it, he would have been in the end zone for another touchdown.
And 23 for the tie.
So the punting unit is in. There's the bomb. As he let it roll. Actually, we'll take it here. Wasn't sure if he was going to pick that one up. It was Hunsiger. It'll be at the 18-yard line with 6:02 on the clock.
Yeah, nice punt by Jay Snow of Pottsville. Handles a little bit of a high snap. Gets off a very nice punt. And credit Hunsiger for staying underneath that, catching it, saving extra yardage, and giving them at least some breathing room deep in their own territory.
So 14-0 your score. You're scoring. Snowwell at the 7:57 mark, 34 yards to Rafe DeCello, made it 7-0. And then at the 1:38 mark, Snowwell 42 yards to DeCello. 14-0 is your score. 1st and 10 from the 17 for the Indians. Quick toss near side, and that one just skips right through the hands of Hunter Crum.
And I think you see it on both sides. The ball must be slippery, must have some moisture on it, which is causing difficulty of these receivers and the quarterbacks.
Frauenheiser out of the gun, 2nd down, and trying to power forward across the 20. Gets up towards the 23-yard line, so it started run by J.J. McDowell. He's been their go-to guy. McDowell coming into the game with 18 carries for $111 and averaging about 6 yards a clip, and that's where you're at right there.
He was able to run through the tackle of Thomas Reed from Pottsville, who was coming free off the edge, right to where the ball was being carried. So credit J.J. McDowell for a nice, tough run, picking up 6.
Inching our way closer to the 5-minute mark. 3rd down and 4. Frauenheiser comes near side, and they'll pick up the 1st down up across the 32-yard line is Hunsiger. Again, Hunsiger came in with those 16 catches.
And here again, just the same play they ran on 1st down that went incomplete. This time they have moved Hunsiger over there, throw him the same hitch route, and he's able to catch the ball in front of the defender and turn and catch up or pick up some extra yardage to get the 1st down.
Marching away closer upfield here from the 34. And they'll try to attack the interior, but nowhere to go. All white jerseys. McDowell gets taken down on the play. One of the guys in there is Chase Admick.
Hey, you said it correct. Just a tough run by McDowell. Able to pick up 3 when there didn't look to be anything in there, any kind of space for him to run through.
Second down and 8 from the 37. Motion to the far side of the field. Franheiser, and here comes the rush. He gets hit as he throws, and that one is an interception or not. It looked close, and they're going to get the INT to DeCello.
To get it, but you credit Rafe DeCello reaching.
Well, the interception comes at the 4:15 mark. And solid field position at the 40. Snowell to throw. Connects perfectly on the pass play to DeCello for the first down. He picks up about 13.
Carabella Snowell's pass complete to DeCello. Picks up a Pottsville first down.
Had DeCello on the right side, motion him to the left, get him on a quick outbreaking route that Jace Snowell can get the ball out to him quickly, just like a long extended handoff.
From the 46-yard line.
So just like that, Pottsville again in Lehighton territory as they get inside the 45-yard line. And on this carry, trying to make something out of nothing, but nothing there for Amari Dunn.
The Lehighton defense staying home on the backside when everything was on their left, the right-hand side of that defense, being disciplined and bringing Dunn down for the tackle.
So if you're wondering the clock and you're seeing it, it's at 3:30 and counting. You know, Pottsville's in the full
positions and save him until the second half, and then let him run downhill on that running game in the second half.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're doing so many other things well that you're almost forgetting about Walchuk coming through there. And you know, he's going to get the ball eventually, and he's going to be on a play maybe you're not expecting. 3rd down and 4. And this time, Snowell will take it himself, has some space on the far side, down to the 20, 15, 10, 5, and goes in for the touchdown. So Snowell goes in 40 yards for the score to make it 20-0. Take a look.
And here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. They use Walchuk as a decoy, running the zone read counter back to the left side where everyone's keen on Walchuk going to the right side. Then Jace Snowell keeps it around the end with a guard and tackle pulling in front of him.
DeCello with the extra point attempt. And that one is up, and that one is through the uprights. 2:29 on the clock, and it is a 21-0 lead in favor of Pottsville. Matt, you know, your thoughts here. I mean, you give Lehighton plenty of time here, and they have the 3 timeouts. At the same time, you're Lehighton. You need really to score here. You would hope to score here because you don't want to dig yourself any bigger hole and go in the locker room just down 21-0 or 21-7 would be even better.
Exactly. You need to do something to get going offensively. You really haven't had any sustaining drives at all. They've tried to go to the Wildcat. That didn't work either. They had the turnover on the interception, which they just converted into points for Pottsville. Offensively, they need to have something going because then come out the second half, Pottsville receives the opening kickoff in the second half. So you don't want to find yourself not getting anything done on this possession, then coming back out and having to play defense right away in the second half.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. So 2:29 on the clock, 21-0 is your score. Jay Snowell has been involved in all 3 touchdowns. 2 touchdown passes from 34 to 42 to DeCello, and after the DeCello INT, Snowell goes 40 yards for a touchdown. DeCello to kick off, and this was fielded at the 14-yard line by Hunsiger. Hunsiger will get across the 25, still on his feet. And Mark is right around the 28, 29-yard line. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. I want to thank John Hoff and Ken Sidlow and everyone over at St. Luke's. All our students as they get involved in our program, and any future students that are interested, you can contact Dave or myself at D11sports.com, or you can just visit your athletic department and let them interested, and they will get a hold of us and get you the information you need. But Matt, we have seen here in the last year, really making a difference and changing the way students think about journalism and broadcasting. And right now, I always say we are ahead of the curve, but really we're considering where we are right now with everyone trying to do live streaming and everything like this. And we're fortunate we have the Sports Fan Based Network with us, and Ari's team, and but getting these kids involved not only with the live stream, but just day-to-day reporting and covering their teams and seeing their peers. It's all about what our internship program is about.
And I think on the other side of that too, they get to see a different perspective of the game as opposed to just being in the student section in the stands and not having an appreciation of what goes into the preparation, the game itself, the emotion, everything like that goes into it.
Yeah, no doubt. Walchuk. So Walchuk has the INT.
And Walchuk up in the strong safety position. Fraunhauser just doesn't see him buzz underneath the outside receiver slant route. He reads the quarterback's eyes the entire way. And luckily for Lehighton, they're able to bring him down without getting any huge damage. But they just gave Pottsville a short field offensively.
So Pottsville's last touchdown was scored after DeCello INT, so that's a couple for Fraunheiser, which is obviously a huge concern right now. Flag comes out. So a penalty here against the Crimson Tide.
As they're trying to change personnel, they got caught with 12 guys on the field.
Well, you're Coach McGoey now, and you can really take it to Lehighton. You have plenty of time. You got 3 timeouts remaining, and just kind of play what you want to do here. They're going to start things off on the ground, and a lot of space now busting to the outside, and a good job there by Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, as you said, they start an empty, no running backs in the backfield with Jay Snow. They bring Davis into motion and then give him the ball going around the left edge. He just cuts and weaves, just finds his way. They gain back that yardage they just lost in the penalty, and now give him only 9 yards for the first down.
Down to 137. Quick toss near side. That one may have gotten tipped. I think it did.
Yeah, I think it was defensive end for Lehighton. Hunsicker coming through, getting his hands up to get that ball tipped and just have it fall short.
Brings up 3rd down and 9.
Third down and 9 from the 27. And straight through the middle, powering forward, moving the chains for the first down is Bobby Walchuk.
And that's going to be where we're going to see probably a lot more here as we move late into this first half, early into the second half. Just Bobby Walchuk running the ball. I'd like to see him come through there just with his head up a little bit more, and with a lower pad level, I think he can gain an extra yardage.
Down to 105 and counting. The ball sits at the 14-yard line on the snap. And then still moving forward and pushing through and down to about, the 2-yard line was Snowell.
And Snowell being very patient on this. His Walchuk lead blocking. They had a guard pool behind him. Able to outrun one tackle, duck under another one, and then drag another defender a couple of yards to get him down and set him up in his 1st and goal.
Matt, you look at Snowell so far coming into this season, he has 207 yards on the ground. He had the touchdown plus adds another one, and he got his first 2 passing touchdowns. So right now the ball sits at the 1-yard line, trying to add to the lead, and Walchuk will go in for the touchdown.
You have to credit the offensive line and the 2 running backs in there, Amari Dunn being one of them, opening up the hole for Walchuk. He wasn't touched until he passed through the goal line. So you get a good look. You have Amari Dunn, number 24, coming up inside. You have number 71, offensive line, Jacob Bagansky, the left guard. Also, Quinn Bosak, Braden Purcell, the other tackle, Adam Stock, and Quinn Bosak, the offensive line, really doing a nice job opening holes for this running game.
Purcell's extra point is good. 28 seconds remaining.
Well, just like that, it's 28-0 in favor of Pottsville. And if you're Lehighton, obviously, depending on your return here, what happens, again, you have 3 timeouts. So if you get a good run back, there's obviously an opportunity here. But, you mentioned it before, 28-0. If it stays that way and Pottsville gets the ball on the opening drive of the third quarter.
And I think the one thing you look at, and I think Coach McCarroll will talk about this to his team at halftime, is 14 of those points have come off of turnovers. Two ill-advised throws, one ill-advised throw, the other just a nice athletic play by DeCello for the interception. Those 2 turnovers turned into 14 points. Other than that, you're 14-0. They just need to get the offense in a groove in the second half.
We'll see what happens here on the run back. Quiet crowd here at Lehighton as they find their home team down by a score of 28-0 after a tough loss a week ago to Tamaqua. Pottsville coming off a victory to Minersville 52-18. DeCello and a chance to run this one back. They'll pick it up at the 25-yard line, but swarming defense comes flying through in special teams as Ethan Buchert didn't have a chance to really move that upfield.
No, he didn't at all. Coming through for Pottsville's number 31, Trevante Davis, on the kick coverage team, having a good fit for the tackle to bring Buchert down.
Well, again, right now you have 22 seconds on the clock, but at the same time, if you're looking at, some key cogs there, Zach Hunsiger, one of their guys, Ian Rarick, has been, looked at as well. So we'll see how they play. You always talk about the first play when there's less time like this and see what happens here. 28-0 your score. We're in the second quarter late. And they'll fake the handoff, toss near side, and connect to Crum. And Crum, they'll have to use a timeout here. So the first timeout taken by Lehighton.
Same thing we saw earlier, just on the short side here. McDowell coming to motion, fake the handoff, get it out to Crum. And Crum trying to hug the sideline, but had 2 blockers inside. If they were going to take the timeout, he could have easily ducked underneath those 2 blockers, get some extra yardage.
Yeah, good point there. They had the ball as they moved upfield towards the 43-yard line. Your leading receiver is Hunsiger, has 16 catches. Hunter Crum has 8. This is coming in, and Ian Rarick has 2. Ethan Buchert also has 2. So, the 4 targets really you're looking at downfield. But don't forget about, J.J. McDowell coming out of that backfield if they decide to do something there. Again, Freinheiser does have the arm to deliver the ball. So even though there's only 14 seconds left, Matt, depending on how long this takes, you probably have 2 plays here.
I would think with 2 timeouts, you can at least, and depending on incompletions or completions and where they're at, you could probably get off at 1 definite, at least maybe 2.
Yeah, they'll go far side, and they see that one coming, and that's 1 yard that was taken there.
And I don't think that's going to be something that Coach McCarroll's going to be happy or looking for. They're trying to get a bigger gain than that was. But as you said, getting pulled down for a 1 yard gain when you're trying to get down the field at the end of the quarter is not what you want to do.
So, Matt, if you're looking at it now, there's 6 seconds on the clock. I mean, likely the last play here, regardless of if you have the timeout left or not, because you need to gain that yards, and if it's going to go downfield, you're going to have to try to find something. So, if there's some, bag of tricks in there, or, this is the time I guess you'd want to use it. I know you like to keep those things sometimes, but if you feel like you're in the right spot of the field, but at the same time you don't want to do anything drastic that all of a sudden interception or something else and it goes the other way.
Exactly. And at this point in the game, 28-0, you're trying to make something happen, but you don't want to show all your cards if you're not sure where the second half's going to go.
So possibly the last play of the first half from the 44. The high snap now rolling and now throwing, and airs one, and that one is going to be out of bounds as the horn sounds. So they couldn't convert. 4 touchdowns in this first half of play 34 yards from Snowell to DeCello, made it 7-0. Snowell then 42 yards to DeCello, made it 14-0 after one. DeCello had the INT. Jay Snowell then went 40 yards for a touchdown run, make it 21-0. Then Walczak had an interception to Lehighton 28. That led to a Walczak 1-yard touchdown run. Your score at the half is 28-0 in favor of Pottsville. We'll be back with more action. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
We are back here at Lehighton Area High School. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, Casey Wallace down on the field, Dave Micah down there as well, and we get ready for the halftime band to come out onto the field. And, Matt, you look at the matchup between these two teams and, coming in, both teams 1-1, a tough loss one way in week 1 for Pottsville, a tough loss the other way in week 2 to Lehighton. And both coaches were ever so confident coming in, but right now you look at the scoreboard and it's 28-0.
And I think what you're seeing is something Coach McCarroll had mentioned that he was really nervous about, the fact that Pottsville's coming in with multiple weeks of practice beyond the regular season from last season. So these players have extra weeks of practice, almost the equivalent to about a quarter of the season. So the ability to have that much more practice and be able to come back kind of makes a difference with even when you're losing guys, getting some other guys coming back to play.
Well, we'll pause right now, and I know people are watching at home, and the Lehighton Marching Band really gets you going here. And we'll go down to the field and take a listen to the Lehighton Area Marching Band. Enjoy the halftime show.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
We are back here. 28-0 is your score. Al DeCarlo alongside Matt Avancho. And Matt, an interesting first half so far. You know, thinking this game is going to be really tight, and all of a sudden a couple breaks, couple interceptions, and next thing you know, it's a 28-0 advantage.
I mean, you said it correctly there, Al. It comes down to 2 interceptions, one ill-advised throw, one fantastic athletic play by the Pottsville defensive back that really gave them the opportunity to play on a short field and get up 14 points. And then the other 2 offensive plays, broken plays, still – Jace Snow looking downfield, able to find his receiver for 2 long touchdowns. That gives us this 28-point deficit for Lehighton they have to come back from.
All right, talk about the second half as you get ready for this second half. You're going to be on defense if you're Lehighton. Obviously, a touchdown, and just like that, you know, the mercy rule will be in effect, and you're almost out of the game automatically. How important is that first possession?
I think for the most part, what Coach McCarroll needs to be talking to his kids about is just come out and play the second half. Come out. You know, the first half didn't go the way that we wanted it to, but again, 2 turnovers, 2 mistakes there have cost them for the most part. But now coming out in the second half, what can we do just to build some momentum, build some confidence heading out of this game and getting ready for next week?
Well, I hope you're enjoying our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DeCarlo, Matt Avancho. I see Casey Wallace is down on the field, and he's with Dave Micah. And we'll throw it down to Casey Wallace and Dave Micah at the half. There we go.
Co-owner of D11 Sports. Thanks, guys. I'm here with Dave Micah, co-owner of D11 Sports. Dave, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Well, Pottsville, their quarterback, Carvella Snowell, threw 2 first-quarter touchdowns. He had a late touchdown right before halftime, a 40-yard run. And then Bobby Walczak, interception, set up his own rushing touchdown. Pottsville went into halftime 28-0. Lehighton has to make adjustments, try to get at that quarterback. They're giving him too much time to either throw or run the ball. They need to get in his face and make plays. Look for Pottsville to do the same thing, run and pass, and just keep that offense in clicking.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Back to you guys.
All right, guys, thanks a lot down in the field. Dave Micah talking with Casey Wallace, our D11Sports.com student reporter here from Lehighton. And we get ready to start this third quarter. And Matt, you know, for us, this is our third game. And, you know, we've seen no fans. We've seen limited fans.
Back to some sense of normalcy. I think that's what having the crowd and having the band, having the cheerleaders, I think that's what it does for the players and for the communities. You know, in the spring, it was so difficult, everything being canceled, everything taken away from these kids, and it was a huge mental blow. But now as we slowly, gradually kind of get back to that, you know, a new normal, as everyone says, you know, I think that's what that's what we're seeing happening.
And I agree. And, you know, again, you're going to take it each and every week. So this week, you know, we hear first Northwestern, they get shut down for, you know, about a week or so. Then it happened to Whitehall where they actually closed school until I believe it was October 1st. You know, Parkland, there's a case there that, you know, they're kind of, you know, shut down a little bit. So this is going to happen. And I think, you know, it's one of those things that I think these athletic directors, and we said this yesterday and we'll continue to say it all year, they're doing a great job to, you know, get the word out, let everyone know, and if anyone's affected one way or the other, to make sure they're safe and look at that way. But schedules are going to be turned over one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And we saw it with, you know, Bangor now playing Bethlehem Catholic. It was supposed to be Bethlehem Catholic and Whitehall and Bangor and Northwestern. In 24 hours, they came together to play because, as Bron Holland told me, you know, we want them to play because we don't know if it's going to be their only game they play, depending on what happens.
And I think I saw that tweeted today out by the Bangor Athletic Department. They felt today's game was a win. It was a win because the kids had a chance to play. And I think that's what everybody's looking at right now, is just having an opportunity for the football players to play, the cheerleaders to cheer, and the band players to play. Like, having that opportunity, that's a win no matter what week it is, and each and every week.
And no doubt about it. Well, again, interesting first half as it's 28-0, and I'll get you through the scoring once again. When I get a second, you're watching our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho. Casey Wallace, our student reporter from Lehighton. We have Jonathan Maxey, Abigail Buffington just joining us as new reporters here from Lehighton. And we continue to add more students from different schools throughout District 11. Jade Schleicher also with us, and it will be actually that will stay in, and that almost, by the way, was picked up by Pottsville, but at the same time almost had a chance for Lehighton to get that ball. Scoring here in the first half, 34-yard touchdown pass from Rafe to Rafe DeCello from Snowell at the 7:57 mark. That made it 7-0. Then at the 1:38 mark, Snowell 42 yards to DeCello made it 14-0. That was your score after one quarter of play. After a Rafe DeCello interception at the Pottsville 40, Snowell scampered 40 yards for a touchdown at the 2:29 mark to make it 21-0. They say that. They'll start off, I believe, with a timeout. All right, Matt, you've coached a long time. You start the game, opening possession, and you have to call a timeout. How frustrating is that?
I think it's frustrating because you just talked about all of this at halftime. And I'll give Pottsville a little bit of leeway here. They do not have a locker room that they're working in. They're down here outside a garage. And we talked about it. It's just we've seen every different scenario. The first week when I was working with Mike, we saw, Whitehall had their locker room. Central Catholic was put in a tent where they had some spacing. Last night we saw Salisbury was out on the grass area by their buses where Notre Dame went behind the stands. So there's a lot of different things going on. Tonight, Pottsville's out by a garage, and Lehighton's in a locker room. So just trying to see, the interpretation of rules is just changing day by day, as we talked about before.
No doubt about it. Snowell looking to throw. He's being pressured, and now throws. Has a receiver wide open, and it will connect there. And all the way inside of 40, DeCello is off to the races. One man to beat, and DeCello gets taken down on the play as J.J. McDowell brings him down after a huge pickup.
And again, I just, I sound like a broken record saying this, but when you watch Jay Snowell, he gets the ball. He's looking for his receiver. He's looking for number 24, Amari Dunn, out in the flat. He doesn't have him. Is pressured, steps up in the pocket, but continues to have his eyes downfield. Here, I think he just misses using that block of his other receiving mate, Jace Adamick, downfield, where he could have cut back, possibly score, but a huge gain for Pottsville early in this game, early in this half.
Yeah, 55 yards on the pickup. They'll go down, and they'll give it to Walchak, and you said a burst of energy he's going to have in the second half, and he does, and he'll go in for the touchdown just like that. 19 yards for the score.
And when you look at this, you have Walchak, again, listed at 6'1", 205 pounds. He's gaining the ball 6 yards deep in the backfield, getting 6 yards of steam, head of steam coming into that line of scrimmage, and then not being touched until he gets to the third level, at least 10, 12 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. That's a tough task for any secondary to bring down.
So with that, DeCello, who had that big reception of 55 yards, is there for the extra point. The extra point is good, and that makes it 35-0. And now the mercy rule will go into effect here as we're into the third, and it only took, Matt, 40 seconds.
And yeah, two big plays. And looking over your shoulder here at the scoring, what I like that I'm seeing out of Pottsville is the fact that it's multiple guys. It's not the same person. We thought coming into this game, and maybe we didn't think it, but when you talk about Pottsville football right now, you think of Bobby Walchak.
No question.
And it hasn't been Bobby Walchak during this game. It's been Trevante Davis. It's been Jay Snowell. It's been Rafe DeCello. It's been a whole bunch of other people contributing. Now, granted, Bobby Walchak has 2 touchdowns, but it's been a whole plethora of people contributing for this team.
No doubt about that. And now if you're Lehighton, you're in an uphill battle. again, with the mercy rule in effect, it changes things the way you go. But, Matt, at the same time, again, the clock's going to roll a little bit different than it is, but you're also looking that you have 11:20 left. So if you could strike, there's still a chance here where sometimes, when it goes into effect a little bit later on, it's almost like it's not going to happen.
Correct. And I think, knowing Coach McCarroll, he's still going. His team's still going to fight,
no question.
But I think what they need to look at doing is trying to just get better at some things and just focus on that, because they have a tough schedule coming up after this. When they have the Schuylkill Haven at home, Jim Thorpe at home, Blue Mountain at home, Pine Grove they have to travel to, and then they have to finish up traveling to North Schuylkill. That's a tough task in those 6 games.
Yeah, no doubt. And we'll have that Thursday night affair with Blue Mountain right here on D11sports.com. If you're talking about Pottsville, hey, listen, they're looking to, get the win here to go 2-1. Then they get Tamaqua at home, at Pine Grove, North Schuylkill at home, at Jim Thorpe and Blue Mountain. So, the Schuylkill League right now, we have North Schuylkill at Tamaqua, which we expect that one to be a great matchup between those two teams.
And I think wanted to point out, one of the things Lehighton's having a difficult time with is they're missing their offensive tackle, defensive tackle, number 77, Mike Yackel. He's out of the game. He hasn't played at all. So they have a sophomore starting on the right guard and a freshman starting at right tackle. So you have 2 young kids starting at that right-hand side, which is causing some problems.
Hey, J.J. McDowell had that one off his hands and all the way back to the 4-yard line as the pressure continues here for Pottsville.
And again, the snap comes a little high. J.J. McDowell does a nice job picking it up. One of those things just talking about, just get on the ball, just take the loss of yards where it's at, because odds are you're not going to be able to pick it up and do much with it that deep in your own backfield.
So now all of a sudden you're pinned back. The first down marker is at the 40. Only 30 yards on the pickup here on 3rd down. And they'll try to gain something on the ground, and there's not much there. It's spinning through traffic, I believe, was Hunter Crum.
Indian ball carrier. Stop made by number 3, Bobby Walchuk.
Okay, nice to be out here at Lehighton and seeing the cheerleaders on the sidelines as well, trying to keep their crowd going. This is when their hard work pays off. When you're losing, and you still have to get your crowd going a little bit.
And I think, if I recall correctly, Al, you were mentioning the 2 other Lehighton student reporters are part of the band. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And what a performance the band put on. A little throwback to the 70s hard rock music. Nice job in the halftime.
I didn't know that you danced like that.
That's why my back hurts right now. I think I threw out a disc.
So, yeah, indeed, we have Abigail Buffington and Jonathan Maxey. Actually, Jonathan and KC last week had the Tamaqua Lehighton game, and they were spot on. They got interviews afterwards. They were doing a great job, so we welcome them both aboard to D11sports.com. So 8:45 on the clock, 3rd quarter action. Snowell will pitch this one back, and it's taken there by Trevante Davis, and Davis almost broke that one. He'll get the first down inside the 30-yard line, down to about the 29-yard line.
I think what we'll start to see, at least for Pottsville at this point in time, this will probably be the last series for the Pottsville starters in this game if they could able to get across the end zone.
Of quarter number 3, first down and 10 from the 30. Already a 35-0 lead, and really didn't see anything on the run was Amari Dunn.
Zach Hunsiker comes up with the tackle, but it's number 11, Hunter Crum, from the defensive end spot. He comes over and squeezes down and keeps Amari Dunn inside and not able to bounce outside and forces it right to his teammate for the tackle.
On the ground, trying to spin through, gain some positive yards moving forward, is Davis once again.
And I think we'll just see Pottsville continue to run the ball, continue to try to just work on that ground game, get this offensive line a little bit more game time reps at certain plays.
We go back earlier today. Wilson scores 3 touchdowns in the final minute after being down 26-0, and that one skips through and picked up by Snowell and will get taken down on the play. And even in this position,
as you said, they bring DeCello in motion. Again, and he's able to pick it up and at least keep it from turning the ball over and continue with this drive.
So Wilson coming back for that victory in the Colonial League after being down 26-0. Bethlehem Catholic, because they had to have that game changed with Bangor, they get the win by a score of 42-7 over the Slaters. But both teams get in their game. So 4th down and 15. Snowell looking to throw and see if they can continue this drive. Now comes near side, and that one incomplete. And Lehighton will get the ball back.
And Snowell does a nice job in the pocket of just continuing to keep the play alive. And finding Dunn out in the flat wouldn't have been enough for a first down, but at least would have given them some confidence with that passing game.
35-0 is your score, and we'll see the offense from Lehighton come back onto the game, into the game. We'll get to our schedule for the next couple of weeks. We have a stoppage. And almost a misexchange with Hunter Crum, excuse me.
And they had that Wildcat again for Lehighton. Not sure if that's something they're going to continue to work on and continue to build with J.J. McDowell and Hunter Crum, or Crum coming in the backfield. But if they're going to do that, as I said earlier, they're going to have to try to get some sort of passing threat off of that.
2nd down and 9. And going to try to take it himself and nowhere to go. Again, the white jerseys come in and they fly through, and starting to change things a little bit is right now Pottsville. They're starting to gain momentum in defense.
And you see a lot of that pressure coming from the defensive left side over the young and possibly inexperienced right-hand offensive line side.
And just like that is a 3rd down and 14 from a 31. They'll come near side, and they'll try to make something work here. And in breaking a tackle is Hunsiger, and they'll bring up a 4th down.
So we said it before. This is a similar play they ran before, but with Fraunheiser at quarterback, they're able to bring Crum in motion, fake that sweep to Crum, get it out to Hunsiker, and then let him pick up some yardage. 4th and short. Not in the earlier part of the game, they went for this easily. Now you do have Hunsiker back punting, so he very well could just take the ball and take off with it.
So 3:45 on the clock. Hunsiker assess, and then he'll let this one fly. And this one will roll down to about the 21-yard line, where they'll take over once again. Hope you're enjoying our coverage here at D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho with you up top here in the booth. Casey Wallace, one of our student reporters down in the field. Dave Mike as well. I want to thank Ari Bluestein, Bill Lewis, and the staff at Sports Fan Base Network for producing our game once again. And we're excited, our 13-game schedule. Again, we said this yesterday. We want to get through one game at a time. We want to get through. And next week we have a doubleheader scheduled as we go into the East Penn Conference. Northampton at Freedom on a Friday night, which should be a great matchup. And then Easton at Liberty on a Saturday night as well.
Which I think those are two real good matchups between 4 teams that are, they felt positive and felt good things coming into this season. So after having Trevante Davis in the backfield last series, they bring Bobby Walczak back, and he picks up the first down on the first carry.
Now, you talked about Bobby Walczak that, in the first half it wasn't used as much, and you said he's going to keep on going, and, he's going to get his yards pushing through, but he's got 2 touchdowns as well.
And really with what Pottsville's doing, putting 2 wideouts out and then 3 running backs in the backfield, it's 9 against 9. And they're putting in, and honestly, it's 8 against 9 because Jace Snow is really just handing the ball off. He was more of a threat in the first half, not necessarily in the second half. So it's really 8 against 9, and they're just winning those battles.
Davis with another carry as we get down to the 2-minute mark of the third quarter. Lehighton fans are trying to hope they can get something, and it's been 24 the last 3 times across. Actually, Amari Dunn, as they'll switch Amari Dunn back and forth with Javante Davis.
Let's have a little misdirection. They have Walchek coming one way, Javante Davis coming one way, and then Amari Dunn taking the ball the other way. And you just see him jump cutting left and right, finding open space to pick up a big gain.
You mentioned it, I think, before. You got to like the 1-2-3 punch, with these guys. You can go, hand off whatever way you want.
And actually, when you think about it, Dunn's the one who's used the least. And then when you put on top of that DeCello out at the wide receiver spot, and we really haven't even talked about McClure. He hasn't had many opportunities to catch the ball in this game.
No. Walchuk has it, and Walchuk is down the sidelines, and he is gone for the touchdown, 54 yards.
And I think with that touchdown, that's going to be the last of the starting group for Pottsville. But here again, they have the full house backfield. They pull the backside guard, number 79, who pulls through, and then it's Bobby Walchuk with his size, and he has fresh legs because, again, hasn't been used that much in the first half. Kind of spelling him with Javante Davis. If they can bring Davis up to speed and then have Walchuk as well, that's a huge and powerful 1-2 punch.
No doubt about that. So you're Lehighton, and that one goes through. You make it 42-0 Pottsville. But you're Lehighton, you lose. You win on the road at Panther Valley, 40-12. You lose a tough one on the road to a very good Tim Aqua team, one of the district champs, 20-14. It's your home opener tonight, and you're still looking for your first points of the night. And then you'll get, like you said, they'll get 4 straight home games. So they'll have the opportunity to be here, but those games are not easy. And again, in the Schuylkill League right now with everything that's going on, nothing's easy, and you're going to have to just earn it each and every time and just kind of pound it. And right now, if you're Coach McCarroll, you just want to get that first touchdown and see if you can get it and build some momentum the rest of this game.
Correct, and I think that's all they need to focus on is what is going to be our bread and butter? What are we going to do to get better, and what are we going to use moving forward in some of these games? No better place to practice it than in a live game situation.
This one picked up and then popped with 41 seconds on the clock.
Brings it out to the 26-yard line. Will be first and 10, Indian football.
So 41 ticks on the clock, and Tom McGoey, again, I talked to him earlier in the week, and he said, I'm not going to say it was a wake-up call for us when we lost to Nativity BVM, but at the same time, you realize that you need to play, when you're going into those games. And, 95% of his starters from a year ago in that district championship, he realized that, he's got some quality players back.
Absolutely, and like we said, in Tamaqua, same thing. Being that they went deep into the playoffs, they had those extra weeks of practice. These kids that are now starters that were not starters last year but played key roles, they had that extra time, almost a quarter to a half a season extra to get more reps.
I said that a long time ago when Paul Raduzzi was at Penn Argel. I'll get my thought after this. 3 complete, 1 to go. 42-0 is your score. You're watching. Back here at Pottsville as we get ready, at Lehighton as we get ready for quarter number 4. And again, injured player down as we begin the fourth. Matt, your thoughts here as we start the fourth quarter of play? I mean, it's been all Pottsville to this point.
It is, and what it's been is the Pottsville defensive front and their front 7 being able to get in the backfield and just really neutralize the Lehighton running game. Lehighton's been kind of forced to a passing situation, and they haven't been burned deep too much, so they've been able to just sell out to the front and be able to just stop the running game, and then also get some heavy pressure in the passing game.
And this one off the side of the foot, right towards the cheerleaders.
That's one of the things with that rugby punt. As he's coming across, he's looking downfield, seeing if he can make something happen. But then, if you don't get the good drop with the ball and your foot on it, you never know which way that's going to go. So as we said earlier, Alan, now we're going to see a number of new Pottsville players coming on the field. Now at quarterback will be number 4 for Pottsville, TJ Allen. He's a 6-foot sophomore.
Looking to throw, and now running down the field, and taking that one is Aiden Rarick, and still on his feet.
Pitch goes to number 26, Parrish McFarland, out around the right side, picks up Pottsville.
Parrish McFarland. I apologize once again.
All right, I will take some of the blame for this by putting the colors on the roster, and I inadvertently had the colors mixed up where I thought Pottsville was going to have that more of the dark maroon and gray, as opposed in Lehighton the more of the red and the white. But as you said, Parrish McFarland getting a nice run on first down.
So from the 19. And once again, they'll hand this one off and spin it around, gaining a few. Nick Englert gets his first carry, a freshman. Oh, I was back to my thought, and I said it in this before. When Paul Raduzzi was coaching at Penn Argyl and they had those championship runs, those gains were done at halftime. And those players from that team, the second stringers that came in, the third, they had a half for it almost compiled by the end of the year, like 4 games, which, you talk about experience that you get, it does help.
And you're right. We were just referencing the practice and having the extended time for practices, but not necessarily the opportunity those kids had gotten with getting in games last year, and we're talking about Pottsville, Tamaqua,
yep,
and those teams that had the long runs last year.
So you see how fast when the clock keeps moving, Matt, you see how fast it actually goes, even, as you go, come back. And, right now you're Pottsville and you're knocking at the door once again. And, with 8:20 on the clock, you're going to take as much time off. You're putting in your second string players as well. And but I've always said those guys want to try to do their best because they want to show the coach, hey, coach, I can do this.
And some of them, as you say, they're always an injury away. You never want to see an injury happen to a player, but it does happen in the game. And these players, a lot of them are just one play away from stepping onto the field for meaningful varsity time.
And breaking through the tackle and then going in for the touchdown is McFarland. So Parrish McFarland goes in for the 12-yard score.
And Parrish McFarland on 3 carries has been very effective in showing a lot. He's not big coming into the game at 5'4", 150 pounds, a freshman, but refusing to go down. Just his center of balance is very, very impressive.
So how about McFarland for him? We were just talking about this. You're a freshman. You get an opportunity to play in a game this early on in the season and score a touchdown.
Exactly. And, that's something he's going to take back and he's going to continue to build on because, again, at running back, however, for Pottsville, he's probably more than a play away. When you look at Amari Dunn, you look at Trevante Davis, and then Bobby Walchuk. So they have quite a few running backs in the stable. So McFarland, he's a couple years away maybe to getting the meaningful time and having to come into play in a varsity game.
So extra point, no good. So 48-0. And if you're watching us here on D11sports.com, our game of the week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Next week we'll be at Freedom Northampton at Freedom on a Friday night. Easton at Liberty on a Saturday night. Then Whitehall at Parkland on the 9th of October. Northern Lehigh at Wilson will have a Saturday game matchup between Northern Lehigh and Wilson. And that should be a good matchup. Northern Lehigh losing a nail-biter last night to Palisades. Wilson winning, in dramatic fashion really against Penargil earlier today. So back here at Lehighton, Blue Mountain versus Lehighton. And then Palmerton and Saucon Valley on the 16th of October. North Schuylkill at Tamaqua on the 23rd. Deeriff at Central at J. Bernie Crum Stadium on October the 24th. Easton at Nazareth on October 30th. And Bangor at Penargil on October 31st, which will be Halloween night. Again, District 11 will vote on Wednesday if they're opting out of the PIAA playoffs and just going with their District 11 tournament. Matt, you and I spoke about this yesterday, and again, that time is going to be waiting to be told yet what they're going to do. Obviously leaning in that direction from the initial vote, and we'll see what happens there.
And again, it comes back to everyone's going to have an opinion. You and I talked off the air last night what my opinion is, but in the end, we're at a time in society where the decisions that have to be made are very difficult decisions, and most of them are unpopular decisions. But the people in charge are making them, and unfortunately, sometimes it's not going to be what we want to hear.
So clock winding down under 7. Indians will regroup and stay at home with Schuylkill Haven, then Jim Thorpe and Blue Mountain, and then hit the road against Pine Grove and North Schuylkill. Pottsville will get Tamaqua at home. And then at Pine Grove, North Schuylkill home at Jim Thorpe, and then Blue Mountain to end the season.
Picks up 3 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
Now, it'll be interesting next week as we get towards, Freedom and Liberty, 2 bigger bands, and how that works on the run here by Zach Miller. Depending on what Governor Wolf does it go back down to 250? Does that change? Does it not change? Can you get the band on there? And I mean, you're talking about 200 band members sometimes as well.
Especially when you're talking, some of the teams you brought up, the Freedom Band. That band alone is, along with Liberty, along with Easton, they're at the capacity already.
Exactly. On the ground they go, and tangled up was Stephen Fritzinger.
Number 25, Stephen Fritzinger, the Indian ball carrier. Gain of 1 on the play. Brings up 2nd down and 9.
So 5:15 on the clock. 48-0 is your score. And diving forward is Zach Miller.
The Indian ball carrier.
Down to 450 and counting.
And we're seeing on both sides a lot of new, fresh jerseys coming on the field, getting some playing time. Again, for Lehighton and for Pottsville at the same time. One thing I always thought about, too, and when you're in this game and on both sides, and you have these backup players coming in, some of them JV players, and then it's going to turn around on Monday. They're going to play a JV game, and they've almost played a quarter already. So do you just give them 3 quarters on Monday?
Yeah, Brady O'Donnell, the quarterback in there, number 12, and he's going to be right back at it like you mentioned. One of these guys that will be there for Lehighton.
4th down and 4.
So down to the 4-minute mark, and Pottsville will take over. Or excuse me, stays right here. 4th down and 9. Looking to throw, and that one is knocked away. Some way, somehow, that ball just popped up by Bradley Reinhardt, excuse me.
As we saw that ball come through, went right through his hands, off the defender's helmet, and then nearly picked off by number 12 from Pottsville Indiana Ray Sauser.
A great showing here by Pottsville. And Lehighton will go right back to the drawing board and try to get ready for their next game against Schuylkill Haven. So 3:10 on the clock. They'll pitch this one back. And really a couple more plays and that clock will wind down.
Yeah, depending on how fast they spot the ball and whether or not they get a first down, I'm not quite sure. We'll see another series for the Lehighton offense.
Number 50, Austin Schweiben for the Indians. No gain on the play. Brings up second down and 10.
.234 on the clock.
So in the last series, we saw T.J. Allen for Pottsville at quarterback. Now it looks like they brought in another quarterback, Luke Keystock. 5'9" freshman getting some reps.
Number 10, Luke Keystock tries the right side. Tackle made by number 15.
Final 2 minutes on the clock. I'll go through the scoring while I have the moment here. First quarter, Jace Snowell, 34 yards to Rafe DeCello. Snowell then a 42-yard touchdown pass to DeCello. It made it 14-0 after one. DeCello had the big INT. And from there, Snowell went 40 yards for a touchdown, his third touchdown of the night to make it 21-0. Walczak had an INT, and then he had a 1-yard run to make it 28-0. That was your score at the half. A 55-yard reception by DeCello to the 19. And then a 19-yard touchdown run by Walczak made it 35-0. And a 54-yard touchdown run by Walczak made it 42-0. His third touchdown of the game, and then a 2-yard touchdown a few minutes ago in the fourth by Parrish McFarland. Extra point was no good, make it 48-0. All in favor of the Crimson Tide and Pottsville in this one as we're in the final minute of play.
We have to think on fourth down, Pottsville will just continue to go for it.
Likely one last snap here to be taken. And they'll just take a knee and wind down the clock. So the Pottsville Crimson Tide, who started the year 0-1, come back here and they win this one by the final score of 48-0. And they win this one via shutout. We'll come back. We'll hear from our player of the game. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. As one thing before we go to break is I love seeing this. You know, they can't shake hands really. The coaches do, but, you know, they kind of just like wave to each other and they get it from there. So I'd love to see that. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Do you want to have your child see the pediatrician, but you wonder if now is a safe time? Well visits and vaccines are more important now than ever. St. Luke's Pediatrics offers options to streamline your visit, like over-the-phone screenings before you come in, virtual visits you could do from home, and some practices even offer curbside consultations. St. Luke's wants to keep you and your child safe and healthy, so call us today. St. Luke's, my health, my hospital, our community.
We are back here. 48 to nothing is your final score as KC Wallace is down with our player of the game. KC?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Jay Snowell, quarterback for Pottsville, D11 Sports Player of the Game. What are your thoughts on this game?
We showed out. Our team did really good. We handled our business up here. And that's it. We just did really good. We had a great game. Defense held their own. Offense showed out. We did good all together.
And how does this win, how does it help you guys going into next week?
Gives us momentum of winning, and we're going to just continue to keep going.
All right, thanks, Jace. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
Casey Wallace doing a good job getting our player of the game with that. And, your final thoughts in this one, Matt.
I'm very impressed with what Pottsville came in here and did. Not an easy place to come in and get a win like this, but it kind of you don't know what to make of it. Is Pottsville what they are, and are they for real? Is Lehighton just not where they need to be just yet? And I think we'll find out in the coming weeks. But again, as we talked about in the Schuylkill League, both these teams have formidable upcoming schedules, and we'll find out very fast.
No doubt about that. Obviously, when you look at the matchup and you start bringing in those, touchdown after touchdown, and you said it before, they really are spreading the ball around. And when you can spread the ball around like that with your quarterback and add, a DeCello, a Walchuk, all the guys that you can, they could be a really dangerous team.
Exactly, and I think the one thing you have to do is when you have all those guys and you do spread the ball around, just trying to keep them all happy, trying to keep them all in the game and knowing, hey, everybody has a job to do, and knowing Coach McGoey and how a veteran that he is, he's talking to these kids and saying, well, hey, we're going to go with the hot hand. If it's Bobby, we're going to go with Bobby. If it's Trevante, we're going to go with Trevante. And you guys need to understand we're going to do what's best for the team first.
That'll do it for tonight. Final score is 48 to nothing. Our player of the game was Snowell. Had a couple touchdown passes. Also had the touchdown run. Bobby Walchuk had 3 touchdowns. DeCello had a couple touchdowns and a great catch as well. Also, there was an INT in there. So Pottsville coming into Lehighton and coming out with a huge victory for Lehighton. They'll regroup. Again, they'll take on Schuylkill Haven at home. And for Pottsville, they will host Tamaqua next week. Speaking of next week, we'll be at Freedom, Northampton at Freedom, and then Easton at Liberty. So we're into 3 games here on D11sports.com. Just keep us posted. We'll keep you posted if anything should change, and hopefully they don't. But we expect to be at Freedom and Liberty next Friday and Saturday. That'll do it for us. Thanks again to Ari Bluestein, Bill Lewis, everybody from the Sports Fan Base Network, to Dave Micah down the field, Casey Wallace down the field, and everyone here, including my broadcast partner, Matt Avancho. I'll call saying so long. Final score once again, Pottsville wins it 48 to nothing. Have a great night.
D11 Sports presents St. Luke's Sports Medicine Game of the Week.